Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do an oil pastel background, specifically a galaxy. Because I like so I'm going to show you how I accomplished this look up here in the corner using my oil pastels. So the first step I did to make sure that my page was protected from the oil pastels was I applied some masking fluid around the image. This one did transfer a bit into some of the image, but that's okay. I don't personally care, but if you do, I would probably fix the page before you take the masking fluid off. I don't care though, so I just put it on all the images on the page. And then I picked out my colors. So I wanted to do a pink and green galaxy. So I'm using my Paul Rubens oil pastels. And I just put them on the page. So I'm going to show you how I do that down here. My desk has a little bit of eraser bits on it. As you can see, I don't know why. Let's get rid of those for you. Okay, so then I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm just going to zoom in here so you can see it a bit better. There we go. And I'm going to take my green colors. I'm going to take my green, I think this is just green. And this one is just green. And I'm going to apply it onto the page in the area I would like green. Just doing small circular motions. Now, I've been using blending stubs to blend it out. That also works. But I also got these brushes from Jane Davenport that look like a little toothbrush. And they actually work very well in blending it out. So I just kind of put light pressure, and then I put a little bit of medium pressure to really get the blending in there, and I can blend it out to make it look like a galaxy, just like that. Then I can add in a bit of a lighter green in the areas that I did the darker green. And I can just kind of do the same thing, making sure to blend it out so it looks smooth. And yeah. Now, if you wanted to use a blending pastel, you can. I'm just gonna get rid of some of the pink that I have on here. You're just going to want to do light pressure, and you're going to blend that out. Just the same way you would with the brush, but it creates a little bit more of a centralized focus than a more spread out look like the brush does. Just like that. So, yeah. And then so the next part would be to add pink. So what I like to do is I'll add pink in the areas I think the green is lacking a bit. And I can really add in the pink to make it, that didn't have any masking fluid on it. I didn't care though. Now let me take my brush again because I like the look of it. I'm going to spread it out just the same way I did with the pink, or the green, I mean. Just working in circular motions to get that pink effect. Again, you can also use the blending stub to do the same thing. It could also create more of a more defined pink area compared to here, which it's spread out a lot. You can really see the pink pop more compared to the brush, which spread it out a lot more than the other one did. So, yep, there we go. I'm also working in Alien World, by the way. I forgot to mention that. By Kirby Rosanna's. Then you can really see the pink. Okay, then I'll just keep spreading this one out. I've given myself permission in this book to just experiment and have fun. Because I feel like galaxies and alien worlds are meant to be exciting and fun. So I've had a lot of fun just doing the first couple of pages in this book so far, and it's been a blast. So I'm excited to see what I do for the rest of the book, because I just think that this book is gorgeous and it is so cool, all of the designs that Kirby came up with for this book. So what I'm doing here is I didn't like the edge of where I was blending, so I'm just going to go over it again to kind of blend it out so it looks more like it goes with the black on this page already. I didn't add this black. This page was already had a black background, so it was easier to do it. But if a page didn't have black background and you wanted a black background, a good way to do that is to use watercolors and do a wash on the page to make it give off this black effect, and it will still have the same effect that I'm showing you. I don't know if it'll work with acrylic because I've never tried that, but I know it'll work with watercolor. I guess you could use acrylic. You could also use, this one's the brown, sorry. You could also use the latex acrylic inks to get that effect, I'm assuming. I think you have to gesso your pages before you use this. I have not used it in my coloring books yet, so I don't know either. But I feel like it would add a little bit more tooth for the oil pastels to blend out too, so that might be a good idea. But just using plain watercolors works as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna blend out the edges like I did over here because I didn't like the. I'm gonna blend out the edges over here too a bit. So your stubbing will, what is this called? Your blending tool will get a little stubby like this. A good way to fix it is to get a fine sandpaper and just kind of sand it off. I don't actually have any with me. I assumed when I ordered these blending stumps they came with one. It's like a little, you can get it at art stores too. They have a little one that you can use for blending stubs, but I didn't get mine with one, so I don't have that to show you today. Yeah. So I'm just gonna keep going until I like the result. Oops, I'm getting up some of the masking fluid. I don't really want to do that. Is that coming up? No, it's just rubbing off. It's still on there. Okay, so that was the pink there, and then I'm gonna do the pink over here. I'm gonna move some of my paper. So I have a bit more of a grip to it. Okay, so what I've realized, if you use the brush over here, this brush kind of blended with the green and it didn't make the pink stand out. So if you want the pink to really pop or the brighter colors to pop, you might want to use a blending stub with your second color, because then you can really work the oil pastels compared to with the brush, where it just kind of pushes it into the background. That would work better than the other way. Yeah, okay, so then I'm just going to do the same over here. One thing though is if you don't want to put masking fluid on your paper, you can go over, like up here, I can go over this with pencil if you have blended it on enough. So that is also an option. Also, if you guys can see, I am rotating my blending stub so that it still has that tip that helps to blend things. I don't want to lose that tip, so I'm kind of rotating my point every once in a while to have it still be pointy, just so I can not mush it. Like this one got a little too mushed, see, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But this one is still hard and it's not getting too mushed because of me rotating it in 360s or 180s. I mean, sorry. 360 would be all the way around, which I'm not doing. I'm rotating it in half of the way of 360. So this spot has a bit more oil pastel compared to the other spots. I put too much pressure when I put the oil pastels down, so this one is taking me a bit longer to blend out, but it also does add a cool effect if you like that. So I could just leave this here and I could be happy with that. Based on the okay, so this is my galaxy. I did it pink and green, as I was saying. This green here will come off once I get the masking fluid off. I'm just waiting for a specific eraser to take masking fluid off because I lost mine actually. It's like called a rubber cement eraser, and it makes taking things off your page a lot easier than compared to a regular eraser. Like this wouldn't work because it's too soft and it actually breaks off, but a rubber cement eraser really helps you take gunk off of your page a lot easier. So now that I have finished doing my galaxy part, I'm going to show you how you can add stars into your background using a white Posca pen. I'm using the finest, I'm using a 0.7 millimeter pen because it's the finest and it gets a really good star effect. And you can make it a lot of detail in there. So I'm just gonna add in the stars, making sure not to do too hard of a pressure, because if I push too hard, the star will be too big and it will not look like a star. I mean, it would look like a star probably closer, and if you like that effect, you can totally do that, but I kind of like the far off distance effect. So I'm just gonna go over and add stars to where the page is. Also with galaxies, you do have some of the black outer space color popping out. That's why gel crayons or oil pastels work very well to create that translucent effect compared to other mediums like acrylic paint, you get a bolder look, right? Which could look good for like galaxies that have that like dark pigment color in them, but typically galaxies do have that bit of black that's peeking through a page that you can see. So that's why I've liked using my oil pastels in this book, to create that kind of translucent effect that you can see. So you can see the black here and here, and it just makes the galaxy look more like a galaxy. So the last thing I want to say is, if you don't want any oily bits like here, this is you can see the oil pigments. You can also use Gamsol to blend it out, and it will blend out the page. I don't know if it bleeds through because I only used it on this page and the background is already black, but any place I used it that was white, it did not bleed through. So I'm assuming if you don't use a lot, it will not bleed through. But you can just use a bit of Gamsol to get rid of that big chunk of oil, and it will blend it out more easily. But oil pastels are based in oil, so it is easier to move than compared to like a wax-based pencil. No, wax-based pencils are good. Anyways, compared to like a pencil, pencils are not easy to blend sometimes. You have to like kind of work it a bit. You have to layer it. These blend easily, no problems. And finally, I want to talk to you about fixing the page, because if I just left this page, it will transfer to the other page. So one thing you can use, up here I actually use stickles. I use stickles up here that have little stars in them, it was glitter gel, Nubella. I used the stickle like gel. It comes in a little container, and I just picked it up with a brush, and I just kind of put it on the page. So that was pretty. I like that. You can also use Mod Podge. Mod Podge Extreme Glitter is what I personally love to use because it's very pretty. It's a thicker consistency than most things, but it dries clear. Even though it's white, it'll dry clear for you. So that was Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. Then you can use Krylon Gloss Protecting. So you can just spray this on your page outside lightly, and it will fix your page for you. I also have this stuff. I would recommend, if you do have this, not to spray it though, because it does look patchy. You can actually take it out of the bottle and put it in a little tray and use a paintbrush like that, which I would recommend actually a lot better. This stuff is a lot thinner than regular Mod Podge, so it might be better to work with than the Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. But yeah, so I hope that was useful and you guys will use it in your projects. If you do, please let me know, because I would love to see your work. I love seeing people's coloring. That's probably the biggest reason why I got into this hobby, is because everyone creates such like inspiring work for me, and I'm like, that is beautiful. But yeah, so let me know if you'd like to see more tutorials with oil pastels, and I will try to think of other areas I can apply this technique. And I will see you guys next time. Bye! It doesn't turn off. Okay.